So as we explore more cards from Phantasmal Flames, one card that caught my attention is Rotom EX because I love being able to play kind of wacky, not so great decks and try to make them work the best I can. And Rotom EX is like the quintessential deck for that, mostly because it has the multi-adapter ability where each of your Pokemon that have Rotom in its name may have up to 2 Pokemon tool cards attached to it. And if this ability goes away, discard Pokemon tool cards from those Pokemon until there's only one left. Its attack is irrelevant because we'll almost literally never be using it, but what it allows us to do is buff up our Gadget show Rotoms. So what we're going to be able to do is use the attack for 2 colorless energy that does 30 damage times the amount of Pokemon tool cards attached to all our Pokemon. This, in combination with a Rotom EX where we get to throw 2 Pokemon tool cards on, makes it a lot better because we're going to amp up our damage a whole lot. One of the other things that's really nice is that we have the Mow Rotom, which hits for the grass weakness, so that's really good into Charizard EX, really good into Zoroark, and some other matchups. We have the Heat Rotom, which is really good into things like Goldango, a lot of the other, like, random other decks running around, like all the Meganium builds and all that kind of stuff, you get to hit for weakness, which is really nice. And then we also have the Wash Rotom, which is going to allow us to hit things like Ceruledge for weakness as well, and just kind of open up the possibilities there. So it works out really well. Then you do also have the regular electric Rotom. This one's almost never going to come up because there's not a ton of things weak to electric at the moment, but that could change in time. And actually in the next set, we'll get a psychic one as well with the same attack. So that'll actually open up things to hit for weakness like Mega Lucario, which is something we currently can't. This deck really focuses on being able to hit for weakness, and it's really important to be able to do so. Your worst matchup is Dragapult by far, and so that's why we run the Psyduck to kind of help that out, as well as a copy of Battle Cage. Battle Cage is kind of a soft counter because it's not the best thing we could ask for, but it is better than nothing. And then we're also running a copy of Tatsugiri, so that way we can attract customers and help us find our supporters because we don't have any native onboard draw since we're kind of just doing a bunch of item drop damage. We do run a copy of Fez. This isn't always going to come up because sometimes it's just worth more to have just Rotom on the bench and just fill your bench with Rotoms and things like that, but sometimes the draw power from it can be really helpful. And then our supporter lineup, since we're playing so many tools, we're playing 1 Air Balloon, we're playing 4 copies of Brave Bangle, we're playing 4 copies of Bravery Charm, 4 copies of EXP Share, 3 copies of the Counter Gain. Our supporter lineup has to be kind of awkward, where we're playing 4 copies of Lilies, we're playing 3 copies of Research, 2 Iono, 2 Boss. We do have 1 Counter Catcher, and then we're playing 4 Nest Ball. You could play Buddy Poffin if you want, because Buddy Poffin will find you your Modem Rose as well, or as the, why did I call it Row? The Rotom Mow and your regular, as well as it does help you find a Psyduck and Tatsugiri. So you could run it, I just wasn't sure where to make space for it because you're kind of really limited, but you definitely could run that. You just definitely want to have Nest Balls as well to help find your Rotom EXs as well as your Heats and Washes. And then we are playing 2 copies of Town Store. This is a really, really powerful stadium card. It helps us find our tool cards and make that a little bit easier. That's why we're not playing Arven, since we're going to find them off draw power. There's so many in our deck, and then we're playing 2 copies of Town Store. We don't really need Arven. Arven doesn't really do enough for us. We just want to be drawing cards. But yeah, that's just about it for the list, so we'll get into the games in a second. I just want to give a special shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much for that additional level of support. Really does go a long way. It means a lot, so thank you guys so much for that. As for everybody else, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in game 1 in a second. Peace. Alright, we're into the game, and we're going to be going first. We get our Rotom EX. Hopefully, we can get a like Nest Ball here so we can go Tatsugiri. Alright, we see Bulbasaur, which means our Rotom Heats are going to be the most important. We will play the Town Store. This is mostly just to get a card out of our deck. Be able to play this down and pass. We don't get like much value out of anything right now. as our whole hand is energy and tools, which is kind of going to happen sometimes with this deck. More often than not, you're going to get tools rather than like 3 energy to start the game. But this is also fine, honestly. Our Rotom Mow is, or not Rotom Mow, our like Rotom Heat is going to be able to solve a lot of our issues if we're able to get into it. The main problem is that we definitely need to top deck a Nest Ball or a Lillie's in order to get ourselves going. Or they can Iono us, and that works too, to be honest. We don't love seeing like 3 of our energies go to the discard, or not discard, but like bottom of our deck. But this was best case scenario right here. This is really, really good, because we're going to be able to play both our Rotom Wash and our Rotom Heat down. We'll be able to Town Store in order to get our Counter Gain onto... Alright, well, we almost were able to do that. But it's okay. We don't, like, absolutely need it. We lose the ability to retreat. That kind of sucks. Alright, we'll place this. We'll place this. We'll go Nest Ball then for a Heat. We're going to go Energy onto the Heat Rotom, and we're going to go Lilies. That's actually pretty good. I'm going to go Bravery Charm here. We'll go EXP Share here. And I'll go for the Rotom Mow and pass. Now that we have Prime Catcher, on the next turn we can go Electric Energy onto the Heat Rotom, Prime Catcher, knock out the Teal Mask, and then because we have the EXP Share, we're always going to be up kind of on our energy attachment. So this ends up working out pretty well. Then we also have Research, so I'll probably just go use the Bravery Charm. Use Bravery Charm onto the Wash Rotom, just kind of throwaway, because I'd prefer to have a lot of different... I'd rather have... Okay, actually, that's so good. If they take a knockout with Mega Venusaur here, which I don't think they will, but they could if they have one more energy. If they take a knockout, we don't actually lose any items yet because we don't have many attached. But we'll be able to go Bravery Charm down, be able to go... I'm honestly not even going to use Prime Catcher then. My main goal would just be to knock this out. Though I guess it could be safer to Prime Catcher take 2. Because I can guarantee the 2, whereas if I have like a really big whiff off the Research, and I don't get to KO this, then that would be pretty bad. Okay, they actually whiff KO. That's really good, because we do get the free retreat off this. I'm going to place this down. Place this. And since we get all this, I actually feel more confident that I don't need the Prime Catcher, and I'm willing to just kind of dive these. And that ends up paying off. So we get to bring this in. 360, we're pretty close. We'll go for the... We're going to go Brave Bangle onto this for later. And... I think, is it fine to just grab Tatsugiri here for later? Yeah, I think it is. We'll grab Tatsugiri for later since we do have Jet Energy already established. And then we'll just throw a Bravery Charm onto that. And that way we obliterate the Mega Venusaur, taking 3 prizes where we get a Counter Gain. We do get the Town Store, which is nice because that gets us Air Balloons to move things around if we need to. But from here, we're pretty much set, because if they swing into our Rotom, they will take the knockout, but we don't really care. We have the EXP share on this, so that the energy goes to that. We can bring Tatsugiri in, look for a better supporter than the Iono, place the Jet Energy, move this in, and then from there, the only thing we're really looking for is like one copy of EXP share, which we'll be able to find with the Town Store that we'll be able to play down. So, ends up working out just fine. And that's kind of going to be game. Being able to hit a Mega for weakness is kind of massive. Giving up 3 prizes into a 1 prize deck does make a large difference. Now, they could boss's orders and pull up the Rotom EX. I don't think they KO. This is, what, 6 energy, 30... I don't think they KO, but maybe. I'm not good at math. But even if they do, we lose out on a pretty decent amount of items, but nothing super significant, and then we get to keep all of our energies in play. So that also works out really well for us if that's the case. But we will see. There's a Dawn, so no bosses incoming. This card's really, really good in this deck because it just gets you like your whole line. I could see this card like reviving this deck, to be honest. Because it gets you your Teal Mask, it gets you your Meganium line, it could get you your Venusaur line, kind of like whatever you're looking for. That's definitely not the play. Yeah, they're only doing 180. Alright, we bring this in. We'll bring up our Toxu. We get a EXP share, we'll just throw that down there. Drop the Town Store. Counter Gain. Let's see if we end up with something better. I feel like Lillie's is kind of better here. We'll go Jet Energy. I don't know. I guess we can Iono here. Go to 3. It doesn't really matter. Alright. We get Counter Gain. Go Brave Bangle. We do 600 damage and take 2 prizes. Grabbing these 2. Alright, cool. We have a research for next turn. So pretty much no matter what happens here, we will be able to KO something. Now, if they... I guess the biggest worry here is like they make Mega Venusaur again and KO the Heat Rotom, then we don't have a Heat Rotom set up to hit for weakness. So then we have to find boss. We have to find energy and boss. Do we have access to Fez? We don't have access to our Prime Catcher, right? Nope. Alright. Minorly annoying. We need Super Rod. Alright, there's another energy. Bug etching set. Should find them another energy. There's their Meganium that they needed, as well as another Teal Mask. If we top deck an energy... Yeah, we want to top deck like Jet Energy. That would be best case scenario. Why did they not evolve into Meganium? They had it in hand. And there's Venusaur. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Definitely a misplay to not just make the Meganium. I don't know why they did that. Alright, weird. I mean, I am recording at like 12 at night, so I guess people aren't playing the best, but I mean, in theory, there's a world where they're able to like clutch that out. I doubt it, but like, I guess there are some weird lines. I just have to get really unlucky, but alright, whatever, is what it is. Game number 1, Rotom Heat doing what it's got to do, so alright, we'll go into game 2 in a second. I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into the game. We're going to be going first. My guess is that our opponent's playing Zoroark based on the sleeves, and that they had a Zoroark coin earlier, but we'll see. Anything is possible. But it does mean we're going to get a lot of value out of our Rotom Mow. We take a mulligan. We'll put Heat into the active because it's the least relevant. And then the play will become just going EXP share to the active. Or sorry, EXP share to the bench. Yeah, I'll just grab this now. Place that down. Place that down. And I'll hold off on placing the Brave Bangle for now. I'm probably just going to rip an Iono at the start of my next turn. I'm fine getting a little bit behind because we do have the access to like go into counter gain plays. And that will also work out for us. But the play is to set up as many Rotom Mow as possible. If we get behind, we can even go like double counter gain. But I'm fine going Iono here. Watchtower doesn't really affect us in any way. I'll place another Heat, but I don't really want to get too Heat reliant. We're going to go second there and pass. I'm fine going Bangle down and then just ripping a Research. I think. I guess Lillie's gets me more cards, but then it just keeps Psyduck in my deck, and I don't really care that much about having Psyduck in the deck. They go Determination. I wonder if they're only going to play the one copy of Reshiram, because if that's the case, I could honestly just chase Reshirams, and then they can't do anything. Trade comes out. They do have the ability to push that to the active. We don't have real value here, but we could find counter gain and an energy, and that would work out in our favor. So that might be the direction we take. They bring this into the active. They put the Mochi on, but don't poison. Little weird, but okay. They swing, take the KO. Opens room for Fez, but don't know if we really need to take it. I think I'm just going to rip a Research, look for the top 7. Rather than reshuffling and looking for 8, because it's only 1 card difference. And I just want to like get Psyduck out of my deck. I don't feel like drawing it again. Do get a Jet Energy. Opens up room for counter gain. Yeah, I think I'm going to just place this, because if I can find the counter gain, that's totally good for me. I don't, but I find Town Store, and that's like pretty much the same thing, as well as a Nest Ball and my EXP share. So all of this works in my favor. We grab the counter, place that down, and we will swing for 360. I will just place this down, and then we'll go Gadget Show, taking the knockout, grabbing 2, where we get our final Mow. Having the Mow is pretty nice. Now, obviously, we do lose out on access to EXP share here, but if we, just because of the fact that it's a jet energy and not an electric energy, we could have tried to hold out for a turn, but I don't really think that was in our best interest to try to do. I think what we'll do is go... Okay, never mind. I was going to say, I think what we do is go Town Store on the next turn in order to find ourselves the, like, Air Balloon, or even, honestly, what we would do is find, like, Counter Gain, bring in Rotom Heat, place the electric energy down. Depending on what we drew, have some sort of option, but otherwise we just try to, like, brute force over the Zoroark here. But it's not really going to work out. I'm fine sacking the Rotom Wash for a turn. Okay. That's really good. We get this. We can go EXP share onto this. We're going to go Battle Cage and Ripper Research. We'll get access to Night Stretcher, use Night Stretcher for another Mow. We'll Brave Bangle, and then we can pass. And now they will KO our Mow. They have no way of KOing our Rotom EX. So we can KO this, and then we'll have Prime Catcher. So pretty much what the play is like we'll let them KO our Rotom Wash here. We bring in Mow, attach the electric energy to it, swing, KO this. They boss. Okay, that's totally fine too, because we still have access to EXP share. So even if they KO this, we bring this in, attach the other energy. And then we can always do a follow-up with this, since we have Prime into the Petron. But ideally, what we're able to do is I'm going to leave Nest Ball and Prime available. Actually, yeah, I'm fine to grab Fez here. Because the main goal here is we're really just looking for another EXP share. So we flip the scripts. Unfortunately, we don't find one, but I guess we'll go Counter Gain. It's fine. Gadget Show. We take 2. We'll go Counter Gain here, because at least with Counter Gain, if they boss up Fez or they boss up Rotom, they can't KO either of these, to be honest, so it's not that big a deal. But yeah, I don't think there's anything they could actually do. Well, they could boss those up and use something, yeah, like Ursaluna, and if that's the case, then that reactivates our Counter Gain. The worst case scenario for us is that they boss up Rotom EX and have a way to buff the Ursaluna, but I don't think they even have that. So they'd have to go boss onto Fez for KO, but that would reactivate, and then we just go boss onto Zoroark, hit for weakness, take KO, even though I don't even think we would have to, but we'll see. The main reason why we want Counter Gain is essentially it makes it so we'll only need the one energy regardless of like how everything shakes out. So we're pretty chilling right now. Iono comes out. We lose access to boss. We do lose access to one of the energies. We do get a counter gain. And we do get a new boss. So that does help. They energy switch. Wait, what? Why did they? Oh, are they just playing everything because they're conceding, or? Yeah, okay. I was like, I don't think there's a way for them to win this or anything like that, but that was, once they started like energy switching around, I was like, oh, okay, they're just playing cards. Alright, well, we'll take it. Rotom Mow is so good when it just hits for weakness, and this is where this deck does get to do what it wants to do. We don't always get to do it, but when we do get to do it, it's really good. So, alright, that'll be the game, and we'll jump into the next one, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're in the game, and we're going to be going first. We open our Mow, Heat, and Wash. So we pretty much have whatever. If we're going to hit for weakness, it's already on our board. Ooh. Ethan's Adventure. That's kind of fun. We get one off the mulligan. That's another energy. Exactly what we want to see. Ooh. Alright, well, I think in this case, I'm gonna go energy, attach, like retreat, bring in Tatsugiri, go attract customers. I get a boss, not exactly what I'm looking for, but at least I don't draw it on the next turn. And then we just start to power up Wash Rotoms, just to make it a little bit easier to get KOs. Artisan's nice. They don't have the best hand, it seems like. They can go Badoo item lock. But that's kind of the least of my concerns right now, honestly. Adventure gets them probably like Energy, Cyndaquil, and Quilava. Alright, so they decide not to take the energy, but they do grab themselves 2 Quilavas, which, I mean, also is fine. Alright. We draw Battle Cage. I think that's fine. We're going to grab Wash. I honestly am fine playing a 1-prize board because we don't get that much value. Ooh, I kind of hate having to research here, but I will do it because I want to get like better cards. We'll go attached there. Brave Bangle doesn't really matter, so I can throw that onto. Actually, I want to see. Yeah, I'm down to wait because I want to see if I can get access to Air Balloon, so I can just always bring in Tatsu easier. Because we are going to have to super odd these energies back in, probably. It sucks to have to discard boss, but if we get ahead, we can play just like a 1-prize board over and over. Because it's going to be easier for us to loop the energies and just like loop one like basic attackers, rather than them having to go all the way to a stage 2. And we're just mainly going to be playing around Rotom Wash. The Bravery Charms won't really matter this game. But what is nice is that they're going to be playing 2 prizers like Fez, and we're just not. We're just going to keep looping Rotoms until we can attack 6 times. And we'll probably get the first attack off, which is nice. And it looks like we do. Alright, so we'll go Town Store, see if our Air Balloon is there. It is. So we can go Air Balloon here. And then we'll go for the attract customers. We get an Iono. What I want to do is go... Yeah, I'm going to go Jet Energy here, because as of right now, I only have access to saving 1 energy anyway. I'll go for the Charm. Alright, I am doing enough damage. And then I can hold off for 1 turn. We'll take the KO here. The main reason why I didn't take the research is because I can't research away another energy in Super Rod, because then I'm just like too far behind. But if this gets KO'd on this turn, which I assume it will, we'll be able to go... We'll let them draw, you know, all their stuff. We're going to move the energy to this, place another one down, go Town Store, look for a copy of EXP share. Place that onto probably the new Rotom Mow, because we're going to go Super Rod. Put 2 energy back and the Rotom Mow. And then Iono after. Or I keep saying Mow, I mean Wash. They go flip the script. Ideally, they use their Dunsparces on this turn and then don't reset them, because then we'll get even more value out of the Iono. Runaway draws. The main thing now is that if we get 2 electric energy in play onto this Wash Rotom, and we get 2 EXP shares down, we're going to be in a really good spot. Because then it's going to be super easy to just keep looping those attacks over and over. They go Max Belt. I don't think that's the play. I definitely feel like you go for the Secret Box. Buddy Poffin for a Dunsparce. Oh, Victini. Also, don't think that's the play. And they go Buddy Blast, get the knockout. We move the energy to our Fan Rotom, or our Wash Rotom rather. We go Tatsugiri. We'll go Super Rod. Put those back in the deck. We'll go Nest Ball to bring that back out. Town Store. Get ourselves an EXP share. EXP. Grab that. And then we'll go Iono. Reset both of our hands. Alright, cool. Not exactly what we would want off the research, like from the research. I'll go attract customers, because if I can find a Lillie's, I'd rather use that. Cool. And then we can retreat. Bring this in. Swing for 180. Take the knockout. There's a Counter Gain. And then what should happen here is that they'll go Quilava, they'll swing in with Typhlosion, knock out our Wash Rotom, we'll go Energy onto this, bring in the Tatsugiri, and then it's pretty important that we find double EXP share. Because if we can find double EXP share, then we just continue to swing, and we still need 4 attacks. 2 and then a boss onto Fez is probably what we're going to aim for, but even still. The problem is that we need to set up more items if we're going to target down the Fez. Alright, we lose access to the Town Store. Do get an Artisan, though, that will get us one more Rotom. We don't really need Wash as much as we need just another Rotom we can throw items on. We'll bring Tatsu up. There's a Lillie's, so we'll go Artisan. Get ourselves a Heat Rotom. Attach that. Attach this. Lillie's for 6. Where we get 1 EXP. Nest Ball. We could go... Yeah, alright, this is fine. Because we're going to go for this. And we'll go Brave Bangle onto this. We'll attract customers where we do get a boss's orders. We'll retreat this out, bring this in, swing. That way, on the next turn, we can boss down Fez. And if they go Typhlosion and boss our Rotom, we can do the same thing. Like, we boss the Fez, and we're in a fine situation. So this will be the counter catcher for the Rotom. They're gonna take 2, gonna to 2. We swing back, go down to 1. They take 1. We take our final. Now, ideally, we end up with counter catcher, so then we don't even need the boss. We can just go counter catcher Fez, look for Iono off the Tatsugiri. Because that'd be really good. Because we could put them to 2 off it. That'd be best case scenario, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to just come in and swing on us anyway. Alright, and there's our Candy Typhlosion. Imagine if we had one more Bravery Charm for this. Because then it would live, I think. Because what are they at? 2... 1, 2... Yeah, they only have 3 adventure. Do they whiff? How much is it again? 60? Yeah, no, they whiff. Because this is 60, 120, 140... Or, sorry, 230, right? Yeah, 220, 230 with the Victini. Oh, now we have Bangle and we have the Jet Energy. So I can Jet Energy my Tatsu into the active. Let's go. They played that so bad. Ooh, we do get a Lillie's guaranteed. Alright. We go Jet to force this out of the active. We can throw Brave Bangle onto this because it doesn't really matter. Let's attract customers, see if I can get a boss. Just get another Lillie's, which is also okay. Ooh. Perfect. Another EXP share. Go that. Retreat. Bring this in. Swing for 600. I assume my guess here is that there are other adventures prized, which is super unfortunate. That's like the age-old story of this deck. Is just having one adventure prized, man. It sucks so hard. It's why I had to stop playing it. I love this deck with like all my heart, but unfortunately, it's just too volatile of a deck. Like, you need so much to go right so often, and if you're me, that just never happens. But in this case, it works out for me just fine. They pull this up. They are going to be able to KO it. They'll even up prizing. But in this case, we get rid of the EXP share. We keep Brave Bangle. This already only has one. We'll get rid of Brave Bangle here, and we'll get rid of Brave Bangle there. Because the problem is they already use Rare Candy, so if we KO this, they don't even have an attacker. But really unlucky this is prized. I'm surprised I don't have Ticket. Yeah, like I don't see it. Unless their Ticket's also prized, and if that's the case, then that's just unbelievably tragic. They do take 2. Get rid of Bangle. Get rid of Bangle. Get rid of EXP. And now we get a new Bangle. Track customers. Do you get a boss? The question is, do we do enough damage? I don't think so. We'll retreat this out, bring this in. We're doing 150. So we don't do enough damage. We can swing and knock this out. I think we just go Fan and energy here. And then we just drop Iono. Put them to 2. Just try to eliminate the odds of them getting into that. We'll go Town Store. Help thin the deck out a little bit. Grab a Counter Gain. We'll swing. Knocking this out, going down to our final prize with only 1 prizers on the board. There's our other Rotom EX. So they can get into... What just happened to me? They can get into Typhlosion, swing into our Wash Rotom, but it doesn't really matter. Because they go down to 1 prize card, we bring in... honestly, we could probably just bring in the Rotom Heat right after, but we will just bring in Tatsugiri anyway to fish for a supporter. But it doesn't matter, we have Rotom EX, so we would just place Rotom EX down. slap the 2 tool cards that we have in our hand down onto the board, and then one-shot whatever comes into the active. I'm trying to think. I wonder, does the Dunsparce engine get better now that you have Battle Cage? I don't think so. It doesn't seem like they're running it. There's the Typhlosion, so they can attack. Obviously, if they took the 2 prizes earlier, that would have like messed things up a little bit. But I honestly don't think it would matter that much because it would just turn our counter gains on. But there's our energies. We'll bring our Tatsugiri in. We do get a Lillie's. Let's see, can we get something cooler? Research. Cool. Place this. Place this. Place this. Town Store. We're literally out of tool cards, so we'll just swing for the 210 and KO the Typhlosion to end the game. And I think that'll be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll jump into the breakdown in a second, and yeah, I'll see you guys there. Peace. Going into the breakdown for Rotom, this deck is kind of bad, but a lot of fun. And when it works, it just feels like incredible. But sometimes if you're not hitting for weakness, it feels really, really bad. And going right into the power, it's going to get a 2 out of 5 for that exact reason. When you're hitting for weakness, you're popping off. When you're not, you're kind of struggling. So some decks are, you know, kind of better than others in the sense where it's like if you're up against Mega Lucario, you just kind of lose. If you're up against Mega Kangaskhan, you just kind of lose as well, because like Absolbox just sits behind Kangaskhan. They just never play Absol, and it's really hard to deal with because you don't hit for weakness on fighting. It's like kind of a pain. Then so it's kind of rough going into consistency because you're playing so many tool cards. You're kind of, I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 5. You can honestly get it more often than not, but because you're playing so many like tool cards and stuff like that, sometimes you just prick really hard and there's about nothing you can do about it. Going into matchups, this is where I'm going to give this deck a 3.5 out of 5, and the main reason for that is that you do hit a lot of matchups for weakness. You're hitting Grimmsnarl, you're hitting Charizard, you're hitting Zoroark, you're hitting Goldango, you're hitting Ceruledge, you're hitting a lot of stuff, so it's pretty good overall. And especially once we get the Psychic Rotom, then you're hitting all the fighting decks for weakness as well. So overall, will it ever be a top meta threat? Absolutely not. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 as the overall rating. But does it have a special place in my heart, and is it always going to be fun to play? Absolutely. So I'll definitely recommend giving it a try if you're looking for something to troll around with your friends or at locals or something. If you're looking to win a major, definitely leave it at home. But for what it's worth, it is a very, very fun deck, and so we'll probably revisit it on the channel later on in time. But with all that said, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see in the next video. And yeah, peace.